Hey everybody, Jay Young here. Welcome to the Jay Young Show again. Man, we're excited to have you. Jordan, how you doing, Jordan?
Hi, I'm over here fixing my hair.
There you go.
Sorry.
Well, sorry, I didn't know we were still in makeup stage, but that's all right. That's okay.
I know, Jay, you're always put together, and here I am over here, I'm like
Oh,
grooming myself.
uh, that's okay. We got it.
We'll
We
do
got
it
it.
live.
We went live before we went live or something, or we
Yeah,
didn't think.
no, who
But
knows?
anyway, thanks. I appreciate you being here today, Jordan. And I tell you,
Yeah,
I wanted to start off and just say a prayer for the people down in that Texas Hill Country flooding. Man, wasn't that just devastating? Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe there's over 90 people. Over 90 people have died right now, and still dozens missing. Man,
yeah.
how's what news have you heard, or what up to date news do you have, Jordan?
You know, Jay, this actually hits really close to home. I have a dear friend of mine, and her daughter actually was at a camp um, that some kids, were also at that are no longer, that are missing. So
Hmm.
it's just a really tough thing. My heart goes out to those that have been impacted. It's I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't imagine being in that situation where, you're sending your beloved child off and then yeah, that's just so tough. And like you said, like hearts, thoughts, prayers going out to those that have been impacted. But I think even more than that, like if you need help, we're like I am more than happy to, send money, make food, like whatever you're needing, because I just Jay, you and I both, like we're helpers, we're lovers. Like we
Hmm.
we love to like love on people and give them and be there for them. So yeah, if you need help, feel free to DM either one of us. I know that we're more than happy to extend resources, time, energy, money, love, hugs, you name it. We're here
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, definitely. It's just devastating about what happened, and I know we're putting a link down below. We've done some due diligence, so it's not just going to anybody, and
Yeah.
but we've done some due diligence. There's a link below. We've donated money as a company. Everybody in our company is donating. When Laura Black with our company, our marketing guru
Marketing
has, yeah,
guru, director, all
guru,
of the things.
director, marketing. Yeah, she's heading down there with her daughter this Friday.
See,
You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
this community that we have, the people that we have in um, just in our ether, they're helpers,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's something that has really resonated with me just through my walk of faith is like being the hands and feet of God, and when you have the resources and availability to help others, do so.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just terrible. I mean, if you see the flood itself, it looked like tsunami. It looked like a dam broke. Literally, a
I
dam
think that
broke.
that's what they were saying is like because of a previous hurricane, the drainage just wasn't properly done. I don't know, but I do know that in Houston, they're actively redoing drainage to avoid major floods. So they're going through and expanding drainage pipe
Hmm.
and so many other things. I mean, because it is a serious problem across many different areas. I was actually talking to a friend of mine. So I used to live in Fort Collins, and in Fort Collins, there's big Thompson Canyon. And in the 1970s, there was a major flash flood that happened, which is why we have flash flood alerts because of this instance that happened there. But it's just really interesting, just over the course of time, to see the impact that water has had. I mean, they've made movies about it and everything,
Right,
but
right.
it's so different when it actually hits so close to home, and it just makes it's just literally surreal.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We've been to some of the. My wife and I went down to the 13th Ward, I believe, the place down there in Houston. Some of those places that just got washed out. After the flood,
Yeah.
Katrina. I mean, it was just a horrible experience. And there you go with the same thing here. It's like it's amazing, how things work and just unfortunate, that
Yeah.
that these things go on. But if you want to support the Kerrville area rebuilding fund or Texas Community Cert Recovery. You can donate below. Bring things up here. Bring as many things as you want to up here, because Laura's going down there. I asked her how big of a car she's taking, or if she's taking a U-Haul trailer or something, because hopefully we're going to have a lot of supplies going. And it's just her and her daughter. It's not her husband, who played football for University of Texas. But if it was, we'd bring him a tremendous amount of water, bottled water. But it's not them. It's just her. So.
Stack both of them on either side of his arms.
I can't see. Yeah, Laura's not going to do that. But it's going to be fun. So, but drop off cleaning supplies at the Salvation Army Social Service Office in Kerrville. That is 855 Hay Street. But it's just a lot of different things that you can do. And like Jordan says, it's unfortunate that these come up, but and there's been deaths, but hey, we're going to pull together. It's like Greg Abbott, man, he was pretty adamant about, hey, Texans stick together, and we're not going to let anybody go unnoticed or unattended. We're going to make sure that we do everything we can. Because,
absolutely. Texas strong for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's such a tough subject, and it's always one that you want to spend the most amount of time on. But I do want to make sure that we get to other topics today. Again, if you have any need of resources or anything like that, like Jay said, we have links below for you to give. And if you are needing our help, please feel free to reach out as well. It's just not ever going to be a natural segue away from that. But one other difficulty, not nearly on the scale of those that have been impacted by the floods, but I keep hearing from all my friends that are in the oil and gas industry, and also lawyers in corporate law, about the tariff situation. Jay, update us. Yeah. What's going on?
Well, it's good thought, and we were hoping to get some of this behind us. But he's also sending letters today saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take a 30-minute or 30-day delay on some of this, and he's not going to just cut off tariffs 100% yet. He's going to try to see what happens and if this is working, because if it does work, he wants to do more and more of it. If it doesn't work, or if something's, not working, to get the kinks out, that's one thing that Trump is. I mean, we'll have to say he's a shrewd businessman, and he wants to make sure that if he's doing something that doesn't work, he doesn't want to continue doing it. He wants, he wants peace, he wants everything. But if you're not doing it, if you're taking advantage of him or the country,
that's
or
just
something,
bad business.
Hey, absolutely, 100%, 100%.
It's very interesting, but we're waiting to see. Like you said, sending letters on goods, especially with Venezuelan oil, or supporting BRICS. It's BRICS, right? BRICS.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So interesting stuff. I mean, it's really impacting a lot of people, a lot of businesses. But it does also seem like it's if it does work and it does continue. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
Right. Yeah, and that's unfortunate. Well, I say it's unfortunate for some others, but it's going to quiet down. Or if we have to pay more for things, and it's. I know that Trump wants to build a lot more. He wants to build a lot more here in the United States, which that's understandable. Sometimes we just can't do it, right? It's like, okay, we can't build an iPhone for $100 when China can do it for 20 or something. It's just not going to be advantageous for Apple to continue buying things here that are going to cost 3, 4, 5 times more to build them here than there are in other countries. And it doesn't matter how much Trump does give. If he does give, he's having to borrow money from the Federal Reserve, which means our deficit goes up, which it's not and he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. So I think it's just a matter of it's like that big bill. We talked about the big bill over the weekend, and finally it was passed, and I think Congress had to stay in July 3rd, July 4th. It's like, oh, they finally got the big bill passed, which does help the oil and gas industry. I don't know everything yet, because it's like there's a lot of little writing, and I've been reading about it. I know it does help oil and gas instead of hurt the oil and gas business, because it's gonna help ease LNG, and LNG is a that is our natural gas, and if you have natural gas that you're producing here in the United States, and we're producing it, we need to use it here. That's the supply and demand side. But if it is exported to other countries, that means the demand goes from only here in the United States to foreign countries. You may double our demand in the United States, which means that the price will go up. And so once the price goes up, because supply is the same and it's not quite reached there yet, then you're going to see prices go up. And as a driller, as an oil and gas guy, I mean, we look forward to higher natural gas prices, which, most every well we drill, I mean, there is oil and there's also gas there. So, and some are more gassier than others, and, vice versa. But most wells do produce both, especially the ones that we drill. If we're drilling in the Bivens Ranch, or we're drilling up in the Mid-Continent, which is our two big assets that we're drilling. Those do produce both oil and gas. So that's good to see natural gas prices going up, and seeing that. That's one thing that Biden would not do. Biden said, no, we're not letting any LNG go anywhere else. There were some big companies, there's a lot of big gas companies that were producing a tremendous amount of gas. We're producing, 100 billion cubic feet of gas a day in the United States. And Biden said, no, you have it all here in the United States. And so there was all this pent up supply, right? All this supply that was up, and the supply margins would go up. The demand was staying the same in the United States, but then as soon as the gates opened up and we allowed that to go overseas, all of a sudden our pent up supply, not only have pent up demand, but this tremendous amount of supply could be released to other countries because of LNG. The ports down in Houston and other places could sell, because what we do with natural gas is you liquefy it. That's why it's called LNG. So you liquefy this natural gas, and it's sold overseas, because we're producing it for $3 here, selling it to China for 9 or 10. Wow, man, all day long, right? Those are good margins. So that's what the LNG market and natural gas, and that's what a lot of guys like us, we love natural gas. It's easier to operate than oil because oil is such a liquid, and it's harder to maintain. But we like seeing that natural gas, which I think natural gas prices did go up there. I think oil and natural gas, I think both of them went.
I think I saw that.
Yeah. Oil's up $1.03 to 68.03, and natural gas is up a little bit to $3.40. So that was good, because what happened was a lot of people last night. Oil comes on the market about, it's either 5 or 6 o'clock Central on Sunday. It's when the markets opened up. That's when the markets open, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on Sunday. And so when they opened up, they were down about $1, because the OPEC Plus said, hey, we're going to throw a lot of supply on the market to lower prices. And all of a sudden, our demand caught up to it. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, we had the vote on July 6th with OPEC Plus. Where did they land on that? Yeah,
they said, hey, we're coming over and we're going to produce more. We're going to release more. And it wasn't enough. I mean, I think it was like 400,000 barrels, but they increased it to 600,000. They're like, okay, well, we'll release 400,000 barrels a day, and we'll go to 600,000. And the markets started going down last night. On the Chicago Board of Trade, they started going down because they were like, okay, well, there's too much oil in the markets. And then all of a sudden the demand numbers came out this morning, and all of a sudden everybody said, oh, wait a minute. Hey, we need more. We need more, not 600,000. We need more oil. Matter of fact, we'll pay more for it. So you see oil prices are up $1 today. So that's kind of what happened. The OPEC Plus said, said, "Oh, hey, we're gonna bring out some oil." They increased their numbers last week, and then unfortunate for us, it wasn't enough, and so oil prices went up a little bit today. So that's
and then
good.
I also heard rumblings about in Alaska expanded drilling that's happening there as well. So any updates for that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of been in the works. You know, part of the deal that Trump said to some of the people that have big leases up there. Now these are big boy leases. These are guys bigger than us. You know, but they have all these leases up in Alaska, and Trump said, "Hey, if you guys come on over to Mar-a-Lago," this is before he got elected, and he probably told Elon Musk a few of the same things. "Hey, if you guys come on over to Mar-a-Lago, and if you donate $10 to $20 million to my fund, I'll make sure that anything that comes across my desk that says 'Drill Baby Drill,' if you want it passed, you give me a wink and I will do it." Right, and so he got the money, he got the money in the bank, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Drill Baby Drill, let's lower prices down to $30," and everybody's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's not what we talked about."
Wait a minute.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's what's happened, and it's going to take a long time to get the infrastructure up there to drill those wells. But if you have those leases, I mean, you're a big boy. You're not worried about, $100 million.
Well, it is interesting because the landscape of it, I mean, it's just tough soil to break through, right? Because it's so cold, the elements there, right? So I could imagine that would be quite the project.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot, and it takes a lot of people that can handle that kind of weather. Woo!
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. I used to live in Alaska, and I'll tell you what, it is not for the weak. No, and I'm a beach baby. After that, I was like, nope, never again.
I didn't know you lived in Alaska.
Yeah, I did my senior year there in Anchorage, Alaska. It was very cold. I saw multiple moose and a porcupine.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I was living large.
Wow.
But yeah, no, those negative 16-degree days, not fun, actually, turns out, Okay, well, last thing here, just on the little rumblings that I've heard is something about permits and getting those faster. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, it's like Colorado, it's Colorado. It took us a year to get a permit there. Well, all we were doing in Colorado is deepening a well. There was a well that's already there. It's already producing, and we wanted to deepen it to see if we could produce the Cadell zone back there. So we were just, we weren't doing hardly anything. Bringing all the pipe out, or not pipe out, but bringing all the rods out, the tubing out, and then we were just going to go in with another drill bit that's smaller than the 5.5 inch casing, and we were just, I think it could be 7-inch casing, but anyway, whatever casing there was in that hole, we were just going to go in there and then drill deeper in that same hole and see if we could produce a zone called the Cadell Formation. And it's not a hard deal. I could probably get a permit in Texas in 20 minutes to do that. Literally 20 minutes. All I could do is just send it up, and they're going, "Oh, yeah, go ahead."
You
in
do
Colorado,
that thing. Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. In Colorado, it took us a year because we had to get.
Well, I will say the narrative in Colorado is very, very interesting, and people are very much up in arms about anything drilling, fracking related. Especially so I used to be a radio show host in Fort Collins, Colorado. We did a lot of local news. Town Square Media is a very digital forward company, so we would write 2 articles a day that would be posted on the website. And one of the main things that was always a topic of discussion was fracking and drilling, and obviously Fort Collins is right near Greeley, right? So there's a lot of people that are there. Just the surrounding areas are really oil and gas heavy, along with agriculture and the like. So it was really interesting to see, now being in the energy industry and understanding what I know now, and then the narrative and what people there are advocating for. There is very much a disconnect between the community of people that are living in those places, and then people that are in the community of the oil and gas industry. And like the friction between those two groups is very interesting to see, especially from, being on the outside of the energy industry and then being on the inside. It's tough to navigate.
Yeah. I was just looking here because I remember something about there was a recent incident at an oil and gas facility near Gallatin, Galeton, Colorado. I think that's in Weld County or close to Weld County, and that's close to Greeley.
Weld County is right near Greeley. Yeah, so Weld County was where a lot of the oil and gas industry was. Yes.
Yeah. They're like, if you want to
drill... There's like so many different little towns, though. So like, there's just a bunch there.
Yeah. Well, there was
it's like somebody saying that they live in Houston. It's like, where in Houston? Cypress or
right.
Is that considered Houston? I don't know. Yeah. But yeah.
But same thing.
Anyway, Weld County.
There was a fire there not long ago, which obviously doesn't help with us and the oil and gas industry and our asset that we have in Colorado. Which, hey, we're pretty much moved on now with that. We're just look at these two big projects. The Bivens Ranch and the Mid-Continent, we can build those up and sell them. But it's just really tough to see if you can make sense of doing anything in Colorado because it takes so long to get permits. And that's going to help. This is going to help. What they talked about was getting faster permits for pipeline and energy projects, which is good. They talk about the SPR adds funding for the oil reserve and cancels planned oil sales in 2026. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Adds funding for the oil reserve, which means we need to buy oil and put it away. And planned oil sales in 20. Anyway, I don't know what that means, but
well, Jay, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I think I told you this last time we talked, that my friend just finished drilling, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, he was telling me about how they just finished drilling, but with the pipeline, right? If you're drilling as a pipeline? Anyway, they drilled, it's across multiple land leases. And so with the oil that is produced from that site that's been drilled, they like each person gets a divvy of the so tell me more about that, because I had so many questions, but I didn't want to like bore them with them talking about work, but this is what this is about, to explore the conversation of this. So if there's multiple leases of land and you drill, you then each person has a financial gain from this.
Yeah, I was gonna let you go out there and stick your head in it a little bit further, or stick your toe and try to explain it. Hey, yeah, you're doing good, Jordan. No. Well,
thanks. Yeah. I know I was trying. It was
awesome. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. You know what? It's crazy because, most oil and gas horizontal tracts, let's say it's 320 acres, right? Okay, so you have a 320 acre tract, and you have 10 families out there that own 32 acres. Now, let me tell you this. You may have the surface rights and not have the mineral rights, okay?
Wait.
Now, what does that mean?
So you have to get multiple permits or you have to buy?
Yes. Well, let's just say the first well that King Operating drilled on its own in 95, we bought a lease up in Montague County, Texas, and the guy that we bought the deal from, we did our due diligence and we went up to see the site, blah, blah, all geology, engineering. Oh yeah, if you drill a well here, you're going to hit. Okay, good. But what it was the guy bought the acreage. He bought the surface rights, which means the land on top. He bought the surface rights to retire on, right? So he had like 250 acres. This is a vertical well, not a horizontal. But he had a horizontal. He had a vertical. He bought this acreage to retire on. And he sure didn't want any oil and gas activity on that.
Right.
He wanted to sleep in the afternoons instead of worrying about rigs and oil and gas people, blah, 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 blah. But we had the mineral rights. We bought the mineral rights from somebody. And so we went up there and he goes, oh, well, I'm sorry, but you're not going to drill on my land. And I go, well, I'm sorry, sir, but we are going to drill on your land. Matter of fact, we have the mineral rights. This sounds like an episode from Landman with Billy
It
Bob
really
Thornton.
does.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
does. So how do you go about doing that? And how did you, because you're a fourth generation oil and gas
Yeah.
person. Oh, hello.
Whoa, there
Hold
you
on.
go. Watch that phone there. Man. No, so we secured or the people that we bought the project from here in Dallas back in the 90s, they did the geology, and they said, hey, you know what? Here's the geology. It looks like if you drill a well right here, you're going to hit. And then the engineering said, yeah, you know what? We're going to spend this much money. And it looks like if you do hit, which is what the geologists are saying, they're the optimistic people, and the engineers are kind of the negative people. But the geologist says yes. The engineer says, yep, it looks like, I don't think you're going to make as much money, or I don't think you're going to make as big a wells as what the geologist is talking about. But if you do make, 100,000 barrels, you're going to make money. Okay, so the geologist checks off on it. Your engineering team checks off on it. And then your land department says, okay, let's go get the lease. So they went out and secured a 250-acre lease for us to go drill on. Okay, so they go to the person that owns the mineral rights, which may or may not be your landowner, and he may say, oh, well, hey, your landowner's not the mineral owner. So your landowner, hope you are just listening to me and not watching Jordan.
I am listening.
Are you doing flips back there or something, or you're doing?
Dude, I don't know. My
Okay.
camera holder just decided to literally die. So just give me a moment.
Right.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, so your landowner, big ranches don't sell mineral rights normally. They're like, nope, we have our mineral rights. We don't sell mineral rights. But a lot of people in West Texas or East Texas or wherever the case may be, you may go into a place in East Texas, drill a horizontal well. You may have 200 or 300 people that you have to talk to. Okay. Now, why is that? Because you have a 320-acre lease. You may have a 320-acre piece of land, but you've got to go and get the rights to drill from those 300 people or whoever it is, right? Okay, so you have a 320-acre piece of land. You got to go find out who owns the surface rights, because the surface rights may tell you that if you need to, go in and you got to cut roads in, they may need water, you may need this. You got to make nice with the surface owner, the person that owns the surface.
Wait, so what ended up happening with the guy who owned the land? Because he was obviously big mad about you drilling.
Man, let me tell you. So Mr. Felderhoff, Al Felderhoff, this is back, he's probably past 20 years, but he called me one night. At 2 or 3 in the morning, and he goes, hey, Jay Young. And I go, yes, sir. He goes, you need to get your up here. And I go, what do you mean? And he said, well, your landowner does not like us, and he left the gate open, or he says we left the gate open, and a lot of his cows are getting out. And he's got a shotgun. And he's got a shotgun up here, and he said he's going to start shooting our rig hands.
But why would the rig hands have opened the gate?
They were getting in and out, right? They did shift change.
They
did shift change at 11 o'clock. And so they're like, all right, well, I forget if it was 11, but let's just say it was 11 o'clock.
Right.
They got shift change at 11 o'clock. They're coming in and out of the lease, and he says they left the gate open, which, those guys have opened and closed so many gates, in their lifetime. I'm not worried about them doing that, but so here's a landowner that says, we don't want you to drill on our land because we're retiring up here, but we had the mineral rights. So the mineral rights were owned by other people. And there's probably 30 or 40 people at the time, if I remember correctly. So when we had to, and there's different people at different times. Let's say that landowner was very unhappy because we had to drill. But I made him an incredible road. We spent $100,000 more than we anticipated on spending another road for him. We had to come in through the back of the property, which would have been really convenient to go through the front. But we had to go to the back of the property because we'd have trucks coming in there We'd have trucks coming in there. We'd have oil trucks.
So it's just very noisy
Yeah,
and things like that. That's
Yeah.
so
But
difficult
you had to be nice.
navigate.
Yeah. You had to be nice.
Yeah,
with
you
it.
have to play nice.
But anyway, so then you have the mineral owners, right? Two different people, or could be or not. But you have two different people because you have the lease owners, which is your people that own the minerals. Because let's say well, like HL.
Okay. So you have like surface level, and then you have like mineral owners. So I know, like in a plot of land, you have like specific designated areas of the plots of land, right? And you buy that lot.
Right.
So for minerals, is it divvied up the same way that a lot of land is?
Yeah, absolutely. So you may have 40-acre tracts that somebody owned the surface and the minerals at one time, and they may have sold the surface to somebody else and said, "Oh, we don't care about the surface. All he wants is the minerals because that's where the oil is," and so they just kept the minerals.
Right.
But you're putting together a 160-acre block, let's say. The easy way to say this would be say, okay, let's say you go in and there's 4 kids. There's a man and 4 kids. Man had 4 kids, and his 4 kids own the acreage, and they all own 40-acre tracts. You're drilling one well on that 160 acres. So they all get the acreage, or they divvy up the revenue by 4, right? Because there's 4 owners and all that.
Right.
But now they could own all of them own it together, which would be a lot more convenient. But if not, there's the 40 acres by each one. Our worst lease that we did was, we're still trying to get some leases in East Texas, and there's hundreds. On one well, we have hundreds because, let's say, we started doing division order tile opinions or division orders. That's what you call the oil and gas. But let's say you HL Hunt, for example. HL Hunt had 3 wives, had 2 wives and a paramour, and he had 12 kids or something like that. Kids have kids that have all these different, they have kids and then they have kids, and you can see how it gets just sprung out all over the place in regards to where all this revenue is going to go. So you have one family that has, 3 kids that has, 12 grandkids. And then you have one family over here that has the same, and all of a sudden it's like it's spread out so hard in so many ways from Sunday.
Well, and we did an interview with the daughter, right?
Yeah, with the Hunt daughter. Right. Yeah. And they've owned minerals.
Yeah, great episode. You should absolutely go and watch it. It was a wonderful and insightful conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the Hunt, and I mean, man, I first saw her and I was like, oh my gosh, I never met H.L. Hunt. My grandfather drilled wells for him, but he's been passed for a long time. But I've seen pictures galore of him, all around. And when I saw her, I was like, there is no mistaking her identity.
Absolutely.
I mean, she couldn't have gone anywhere and said, no, I'm not H.L. Hunt's daughter. She could never say that. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well,
Anyway,
Jay, I think that's all the news that I have today. I'm sure I'll have more questions for you in our next chat, especially as I continue to talk and pick my friend's brain that's drilling that well right now. Maybe even we can get him on and have him talk, because I mean, he started he started a company, he sold it, and now he's doing it again. And so, that's the whole thing. We love entrepreneurship. We love checking in on their journey and going through all of that. So I'll see if he's interested and maybe we can get him on.
Yeah, hey, we'll just pipe him in real quick. Maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and you never know. I guarantee I'm gonna learn something. I'm gonna ask him enough questions that I'm gonna learn something.
Well, I feel like you two, it's a similar situation. He got investors, they drilled, and then they sell and so I feel like it's pretty similar, right? Okay. Well, I was like, right? I'm pretty sure.
No, it is. It is. I mean, there's the way the deal is structured.
There's so many different levels, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like I was talking to, one of our SVPs today, and I said, what's the difference than our model and their model? It's like, hey, you know what? Let's say you raise $100 million, and drill 10 wells, they drill, they get the tax benefits, they drill 10 wells, and they get income. The investor gets the income for as long as these 10 wells produce. That's one way to do it, right? Bless you. That's their way. Our way is, and I know we've talked about this on my book and all that stuff, but they do 10 wells and they produce as long as they will, and they send out revenue checks. You may get your money back, you may not, whatever. Our deal is you drill 10 wells, and as soon as you drill 10 wells, we go to the bank and get collateral on those 10 wells, and then we'll drill more wells. Maybe we drill 3 to 5 more wells with that money, and then another 6 months or a year, we'll go back to the bank, increase our credit facility, and drill more wells. So in our project, you may have 25 wells. You may have 25 wells where in theirs, you're just going downhill. As soon as the first check is the biggest, they go down from there. And I'm doing a little commercial for King Operating Fund 3, but I don't mean to do that. And don't take this. Read the small print. There's risk involved. But our deal is we drill 10 wells, take it to the bank as collateral, get some more tax benefits for investors, increase their monthly revenue, and that's the way we do it. But the way the other company over here does it is they drill 10 wells and they're just getting revenue for as long as those 10 wells produce, and then they're done. No upside there, but we do talk about the upside in oil and gas investing, and that's why I wrote the book, wherever it is, and click the link below, and we'll tell you more about that. But anyway, so it's just a matter of how his deal is structured. But I love to learn where they're drilling and what's going on with them, and it's very, very interesting. Very interesting. Hopefully we can see prices. I mean, I like prices at $60, $65 a barrel, $70 a barrel. I like it. I don't like them above 80 or 90 because I think it's too expensive and just too many crazy things happen up there. Just that's not good. But I think that if these prices were good and we can drill, we can make money. If you can't make money at $60, $70, you shouldn't be in the oil business.
Fair enough.
Hey, but what's the one habit that you've learned? What's the one habit that you've learned lately that you do on a daily basis that's really helped you?
One thing that I've learned, especially from talking to very successful business owners, is that the common denominator that I've seen through all of them is that they read the news. So whether that's The Economist or or the New York Times, like they all will get their daily dose of information from as unbiased a source as they possibly can to make informed not only decisions, but have informed and insightful conversations.
Yeah. I think that's great. And I think that's how you wake up in the mornings and what you do in the mornings and what's your daily ritual. I mean, I may get up as early as I can. I don't like getting up early. I don't like it, but I got the coffee pot fired up, which really does help. But I may read 30 minutes worth of, I may read or listen to the Bible for 30 minutes. That's my goal. 6:30 to 7 o'clock is my Bible time. And I don't do it all the time. I'm getting better. I want to come out with Jay's Bible verses. I think that's my new name for my new company or my new deal. Jordan, I'd love to have you help me. Jay's Bible verses, because I don't know Bible verses very well, but I want to learn, and I'm learning. But anyway, 6:30 to 7 is my Bible time, and then 7 to 8 is my, hey, don't bother me. I'm reading the papers. I'm going to read. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to do anything and everything I can to learn, because you need to be sharp and you need to know what everybody's talking about supply and demand, or about the world, or about what's going on, because not everybody can start an American party. Have you heard of that? The American Party? Oh, I think Jordan's out. But the American Party with Elon Musk, we have Elon Musk. You never know. He's going to have the American Party. He's going to have a brand new party called the American Party, and hopefully he remembers what Ross Perot did in 1992, and he split the Republican vote and it wasn't enough to carry the Democrats, and so somebody got in 1992. We won't talk about who and go there, but anyway, very excited about that. But anyway, I'm out. Computer died for Jordan, and I think that's all we have this week. But if you like us, follow us down below. Follow us on X or whatever you follow us on social media wise. Thank you very much for following us today. And we'd love to have you. I'd love to have your input. We're going to have more programs like this. We're going to interview great people, and follow us today. But thank you very much. Have a great week, and we'll see you here again soon. Thank you.